a dream chaser. And that means I don't just dream. That means I go for it. See, we gotta go for what we want in life. We can't just be complacent, right? But see, that's the thing. As we go, as we grow, we take people with us. Y'all hear that? As we grow, we gotta take people with us. We gotta inspire people. We gotta help people along the way, and we gotta build that community. Because what is success if I can't share it with others? That's how you live, y'all. Hey, Dream Chasers, how y'all doing today? It's your man CV. We back with another episode of the podcast. This is the place where we inspire people to chase their dreams, but also grow and learn from that process. So today we have a very special guest, just one of the kindest, always smiling people that I know and been lucky enough to meet. She's an animator who's had internships at Disney and is just moving her way on up. So please welcome Kylie. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is really an honor. So I'm excited.
Hey, it's gonna be a fun episode. I got my cartoon shirt on, you know what I'm saying? We're ready. So
Yes, there you go. I love it.
so the first question I got is just why did you want to come on the show and share your story today?
Right. Well, when you asked me if I was okay with sharing my story and everything, I first of all felt honored because life in general is always an adventure. So if I get to share my story with anybody else and maybe if it's helpful to somebody, then I would be more than happy to share. And sometimes it has its funny moments too that you just got to laugh about. So
There you go. There you go. That's what it's all about. Helping
oh
other
yeah.
people. All right, so this is an exercise that we encourage people to do because it helps you kind of think about not only how you would describe yourself, but how other people would describe you. So, what three words would people in your life describe you? What would they use?
Right. Well, this one's a little hard. So, sometimes I do ask other people like, hey, I don't know. So what would you use?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that the adjectives that I've probably heard the most is joyful, positive, and strong-willed. So, a mixture of the three. I'm not going to deny the strong-willed part. There's a strong side of me that I will admit is there, but I also try to be joyful and positive at the same time. So I would say those three.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, that's perfect. That's how I would describe it too. Always joyful, always just a good person to be around. Always got a smile on your face,
Oh,
and
thank you.
that is just a huge point on this channel is that through chasing your dreams, it's not always going to be the easiest thing in the world, but you can still find something to keep that smile on your face, keep going, keep being positive.
Absolutely. You're right.
So we've already talked about you're a talented animator, and you graduated Webster University, multiple internships with Disney. Congrats, first of all, you know what I'm saying? And then this
Thank
show,
you.
it's all about self-growth, self-reflection. So what are some of the lessons that you've learned throughout your journey? And do you feel like you've grown along the way?
Yeah, so there will probably be a few lessons along the way. Ones that sometimes were a little hard to learn, but at the same time, I would look back on them now and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm glad I learned that." One of them for sure is learning how to be patient with things. I'll admit I'm not the most patient person. When I want something, I want to go after it and I want to get it and I want to have it, so to
Mm-hmm.
say. And that includes, jobs or internships and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously with the effects of COVID and all of that good stuff, it's made me realize that being patient is a very important thing because sometimes you just got to wait, take it slow, not jump into things right away, and enjoy the moments as they come, not just wishing for the next thing over and over and over again. That lesson is probably the best that I would say is, patience level, and
Mm-hmm.
also learning how to going off of enjoying the little moments as they come, because sometimes the small moments are the best. And especially with my internship with Disney and everything, Disney is fantastic, but it's not like working there every day is going to be great. It's going to have
Mm-hmm.
its good days and its bad days. even if it's something little. I mean, I was custodial. I was, changing trash cans and stuff. So even if it was just a simple thing of, a little girl walking by and she was dressed up as a Disney princess. And I would say, oh, have a great day, princess. And she would look up and smile. Like sometimes those would be just the best moments that make your day, even if they're the hard things. So being broad with your views and appreciating the good things in life.
That's it. At this point, you just kind of gave the whole show in your answer. I mean, that's what it's all about. Appreciating the little things and that it's a journey. It's a process that we have to stay patient and continue to, appreciate those things as we go along the way instead of just looking at the end result. So thank you for the answer.
Absolutely.
So a lot of artists, they've told me, I've known a couple artists in my life. They told me that it can take a lot of time. It could be a lot of effort, be tedious. You know what I'm saying? So like, can you talk a bit about how that struggle has been for you? And then how do you push through it and still find that joy and love for your craft?
Absolutely. So I would say the biggest project I ever worked on was my senior overview to graduate, which is usually a 3-minute animation. And admittedly, there were a lot of parts and writing the script, backgrounds, coloring, animating, all of that stuff. So it is very tedious work. There's a lot of detail that goes into it. And especially with animating, if you mess up the sizing on, say, head, that can mess up the whole animation right there, where you've got a growing head, a shrinking head, so you definitely have to have a good eye for that kind of stuff. But the way that I've found how to still stay concentrated and love what I do is that, yes, you're drawing one drawing at a time, and 24 drawings makes 1 second. Sometimes that can seem a little bit like, okay, but even when you're feeling a little frazzled and you're like, you know what, let's just press play and see what we got. That moment when you see your animation actually starting to move or blink or breathe or something, you get to look at it and go, oh my gosh, I made that. That is so cool. Like, especially for me, like I have my own little family of characters and stuff. So to look at them and say, oh my gosh, that's my character and it's moving. Like, I can't believe it. It makes it all worth it. And then it's almost like an energy tank where you're just like, all right, let's get back at it. I want to do more of this. So yeah, especially overview project, I definitely made it, a little bigger than it was probably supposed to be. It actually ended up being 6 minutes instead of 3. So there was definitely a lot of patience, that had to go into that, but it was so worth it in the end. Every once in a while, I like to just pull it out and watch it to kind of re-inspire myself. Like, let's do this,
Like, I did that. Like, you just got to look at it just like, wow, I really, everything I've been growing up looking at on the screen, I can do that right here. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is. It's such a cool feeling, though.
That's facts. And I think that's something, as we go along the journey, as we talked about already, but it's about just that little bit of progression that you made, so you might not be at the full, you might not be exactly where you want to be yet, but to say, okay, I made a progression, I learned this and I did this, what I'm saying, appreciating those steps is, like you said, that's how you keep going. Because if you're only looking at if you're only looking at the end, what I'm saying, and you forget, you miss out on everything and you miss out on all those lessons.
Oh, absolutely. It's always like what is it, the most corny saying that people say when it's like, oh, it's not about the end result, it's the journey. But it's like, no, it really is. Like, you hear people say that all the time and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But I mean, it really is.
That's facts. We're gonna push through the dog barking, he'll stop eventually. But
oh, dog wants to be on the show too.
I'm telling you, he's getting his spotlight moment.
Oh gosh.
So Actually, what we're gonna do is we've kind of started to talk about your our journey with animation. So now we're gonna blah, 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 I can't speak, but we're gonna start to transition into the life is dope section, which is all about appreciating little things in life, which is exactly what we've been talking about. And so we've got a animated TV movie version of this, since that's what the kind of theme is today. So
All right.
first question is, what's your favorite animated movie?
Oh, okay. Hands down, it's the movie Tangled.
Hmm.
I love that movie. I have seen that movie, I don't know how many times.
Hmm.
I can shamefully, but yet kind of in a proud way, quote it from beginning to end. I have done it
Hmm.
before.
Okay.
Yeah, just on a long shift at work. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to, keep myself busy or whatever. And I
Mm.
quoted the movie from beginning to end. So hands
Mm.
down, Tangled is my favorite movie.
There you go. That's powerful.
you know,
Okay, I like that.
very unpopular opinion, but I like it a little bit better than Frozen. That
Mm.
that gets me in
Oh.
trouble sometimes, but I like it better than Frozen.
Oh, they're gonna be like, hold up. They're gonna be in the comments talking some. No, it's not better. It's
Yeah.
not.
Now, I mean, Let It Go is great and all. It's a great song, but I mean, come on.
I love it. I love it. All right, so for me, I guess my animated movie is Finding Nemo that I always talk about. Do you mess with Finding Nemo?
Oh, yeah, Finding Nemo. That's a great one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so did you like Finding Dory or did you like Finding Nemo still?
I like Finding Nemo better, but I mean, I
Yeah.
like Finding Dory too. It was fire. I'm a movie person. I like pretty much if you can tell a story that's like heartwarming, then I'll watch it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have too much bias.
Yeah. No, that's
All
a
right,
good
so
one.
yeah, it is. It is. I gotta watch Tangled again. I've only watched Tangled once, so I gotta watch it again, see what the hype is about. You know what I'm saying? Uh-oh. Kylie's lagging a bit. No, she's here. She's still
Oh,
here.
there we go. Cool.
All right.
Oh my
So what about what about favorite animated TV show?
Okay, so TV show, it's a little iffy because I used to watch a lot of Disney Channel shows. So like Phineas and Ferb, I
Ooh,
loved that show. That one was
okay.
great. But if I'm gonna go like a little bit on the nerdier side, it
Hmm.
was Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Okay.
Oh, I love that show. I was devastated when they said that it wasn't going to be on the air anymore. I was like, oh
Hmm.
no. And then they put all the seasons on Disney Plus. So I'm like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, heck yeah. So
Okay.
that was always my Saturday mornings was
Huh.
the new episode of Star Wars.
That's facts. That's facts. So are you a fan of The Mandalorian too, or no?
Oh yeah. That show. I am so pumped for the next season. I'm
Hmm.
counting down the days. Because the way that the season 2 ended, oh, fantastic. And I'm ready for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's coming, the Boba
Hmm.
Fett series. So I think it's safe to say, aside from my Disney obsession, I've got a slight Star Wars obsession too. So
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Appreciating what's out there. That's what we do.
yeah.
And so speaking of kind of your connections with that, you seem to have this kind of special bond with cartoons and Disney, especially since you're going to animation. So can you tell us a little bit about like why you love them so much,
Absolutely. So I grew up watching movies a lot. Like that was
Hmm.
just something I loved to do as a kid. Even if I wasn't like sitting and watching them, I would always want it playing in the background while I played with my toy
Hmm.
or something like that. So ever since I was little, I would watch all kinds of animated movies. And they would mostly be Disney.
Hmm.
Um, I think even my babysitter from when I was like 3 would always put in 101. I grew up on that at her house. And
Hmm.
then at my house, it was always Dumbo, Mulan, and Bug's Life.
Hmm.
Those were always like my movies that I would watch. I do think I ran down the VHS tape on one of them, which I don't think it worked anymore. But so that kind of started it. And then when I was about 6, that was when my parents took us on our first family vacation to Disney World. So ever since that first trip, it was like, oh my gosh, it was just like the best place ever. And on that trip was when I realized, like, I've got a little bit of magic running through my veins here.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
just, yeah, inspiring. And during one of our trips, I went into one of the Disney stores that they have in the shopping area, Disney Springs, and there was an animator there, and he just, it was kind of like one of their entertainment things where you could just stand there and watch him draw and everything. So I stood there for I don't know how long, just watching him sketch out all of these Disney and stuff, and that
Hmm.
lit lit my whole dream there. Where I'm like, that's what I want to do right there.
That's fire. That's fire. We talked about that that kind of big moment in your life that's like you figured it out. We talked about that in another episode that we called it "What's Your Movie About?" You know what I'm saying? And we talked about that point right after the exposition in the movie where it's like, all right, it's starting now. Like we getting into it type stuff. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
fire. All right, so the next question we have is just actually first I wanted to bring back. We talked about the animation, and so we've seen over the years how it used to be like kind of all kids were kind of put in animation, you know what I'm saying? And then with the rise of Nickelodeon and all that stuff, Teen Nick, we started to see more live action kid shows, more live action teen shows. So do you like that change or do you kind of miss the old days where it was mainly animated for children's TV?
I personally, for me, I kind of miss the
Mm,
old days, like all of the animated TV shows and stuff. And I mean, the live
mm,
action stuff they have now is great,
mm,
and even the way that they've upgraded their animation too, like, it's all great. I would never say that it's not,
mm,
but I am also more of a traditional person. At Webster, they always start off with teaching you traditional animation,
mm,
flip books, sketching, just old
mm,
school, starting with that. And then you progress to, the digital stuff.
mm.
But I'm always a little more, partial to old fashioned
Okay, okay.
2D animation.
Okay, okay. So in that little heated debate between the artists, you would lean towards the hand drawn old school style.
I would,
Mm,
because even like Pixar's movies, they're obviously,
mm,
flawless in their 3D realistic style. I mean, it's
mm,
incredible. But for me, nothing beats going back to a uh, old Disney film where it's
mm,
2D flat, that kind of thing. I do think that that kind of brings out the best
mm,
animation is going traditional. Just because you're not relying on computers to animate for you, you're doing it
mm,
yourself, and you can give it your own little flair and
mm,
exaggeration and personality.
mm,
Whereas, computers, they can do it for you now, but I always like a little bit
mm,
of personality in there too.
mm.
So,
The imperfection is what makes it, yours, you know what I'm saying? Like this is me,
exactly. If you
that's
ever
fire.
pause an old traditional animated film,
Hmm.
just pause it, you will find probably the most weird drawings of like the characters, or they're making funny expressions to where you're like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I never noticed
Fire.
that before.
Fire. I love it. I love it. So now we're going to transition into the trivia, you know what I'm saying? And so the trivia is just a tradition that we do where it's one of the most nerve wracking segments, but then people do good on it and then they feel great. So I
All
believe with
right,
you.
let's
But
do this.
you picked the 80s, so you're going way back. So we're going to see. We're going to see how it is. All right, the
Woo, all right.
First question is, in which video game did Super Mario first appear? You got A, Duck Hunt, B, Legend of Zelda, C, Mario Bros, or D, Donkey Kong?
All right. One more time, can you repeat the question?
All right. In which video game did Super Mario first appear? We've got A, Duck Hunt, B, Legend of Zelda, C, Mario Bros, or D, Donkey Kong?
Oh, C, Mario Bros.
Is that your final answer, Kylie?
It's my final answer.
You got it. Look at you. And that
Yay!
was like a trick question because I promise you I would have said like Donkey Kong or something. So you
I
didn't
was a little
fall
like,
into the trap.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Super Mario Bros. I don't know. See, that's where I feel like I wasn't great at taking tests because I'm like, is it really that obvious? I don't know. And then I overthink it.
Hey, yeah, no, we're gonna blame that on the teachers. They give us these questions trying to trick us. Just give us the question. Like, we don't need all this. All this
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
All right, so the next question is, what was the most popular game of the 80s? We've got A, Tetris, B, Super Mario Bros, C, Duck Hunt, or D, Pac-Man.
I want to go with, I'm sorry?
You need me to repeat anything?
No, I'm thinking. I want to go with maybe Pac-Man.
Final answer?
Yeah.
It was actually Mario Bros again. I was trying not to give it away because I was like, I don't want to make a facial expressions. But no, Spot, you know what, Spot? I'm gonna have issues with this dog.
Oh, Spot, that's cute.
But no, I was gonna say Pac-Man. That is my game. I play that to this day. I'll get on Google because they came out with that 25th anniversary and they made it free on Google, and I just play it like a lot.
No, it's free on Google.
Yeah, it's been free for years, and since I was in middle school, I think. You just type in google.com/Pac-Man, then you can just play it for free.
Oh my gosh, how have I not known about this? I'm gonna have to do that now because yes,
you're gonna have to do it. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. You got 1 out of 2. That's halfway there.
Heck
we celebrate that here. We celebrate.
There we go.
All right, so we've talked about kind of your journey with animation in like a professional sense, but now we're gonna try to see kind of get a little deeper, a little more life advice from you. Got to get some gems. So pursuing an art in college sometimes, or just in life, it can sometimes have kind of a negative stigma to it, you know? So have you had to face a lot of that? And if so, how did you push through it and get to where you are today?
Yeah, so with the animation specifically, I always had that goal in mind since I was 12. Like since I was 12, I always said, I want to work for Disney. I want to be an animator. And it has had some of its, I wouldn't say pushback, but at least people who maybe questioned it, like, really, that's what you want to do? Are you wanting to stay around here? Like, what can you really do with that? So that kind of thing. At times it would get a little not frustrating, but I would be a little like, oh, there it is. Like I would expect it. You know, people are like, oh, what are you going to major in? And I would say animation. I would just kind of wait for it. Just
wait for that voice.
Yeah, just that, oh, okay. Always that response, okay. So I would always preface it with, or I would always, you know, follow it with, I want to go to California. I want to work at the big studio. Like, that's what I want, you know. But just in general, even if I was planning on staying around here and everything, I think I would still answer with, you know, yeah, like what I love to do. It's what I want to do. I've got a passion for it. So I'm going to kind of make it my own thing. And people have, I think, gotten that along the way. Like I've worked at the same summer job for 7 years now. So of course you get a lot of returning customers and stuff. So they'll ask now like, oh, hey, how's that animation thing going? You know, so people have eventually come around to it. But that pushback, I think just as far as advice would go to anybody who's maybe struggling with that, I do have that strong side to me to where I'm a little like, you know, that's what I want, you know, I don't want to second guess it, you know, that kind of thing. So just if it's something that you're really passionate about, then stick with it, because ultimately it's your job, it's your passion, it's what you want to do. And if, you know, you get the questions and pushback of it, if it's really what you want, then you should go for it. Like you can't second guess it, because I'm always about living with no regret. So if you feel like it's something that you're going to regret not doing, then you just got to go for it. No regrets here.
There it is. That's so powerful. You said it's what I love, it's what I want to do, and it's what I have a passion for. And that is, I mean, that's the three kind of keys to success and dream chasing right there. Is that, do you love it? What do you love? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it professionally? And then do you have that passion? Because as you said, and as we talked about earlier, it's gonna take work. You know what I'm saying? I might have to do 24 pictures for a second. But if it's my passion and I love what I'm doing, it's not gonna feel like that much. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the athletes who stay in the gym all day, do four workouts a day. They love it, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's so important. We
Yeah.
talked with we talked with a YouTuber who was on the platform for 7 8 years, just doing her thing. And it took her so long, and just recently she blew up, and now she's got 60,000 subscribers. Haryana Hook, you guys could watch that or listen to it on Spotify, YouTube, episode 23. But that it was such an inspirational story, because it's like, when you're that creative person and you want to entertain, you want to be artist, you want to do what you want to do, people gonna look at you down, and you might not get the results right away. But at the end of the day, if you finally do get to those results, it's great. You love it. And then even if you don't, the key right here that y'all need to write down is that you're going to learn from the experience to help you grow, to help become a better person if you take that mindset. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that was a lot, but my heart was touched by your
Oh,
story.
I don't think I could have said it better myself. You did excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. So on the flip side, the show, we also talk about, we talked about people maybe not supporting you, but this show is also about building that support, building that appreciation for our communities. And so how important have the people in your corner been to you throughout this journey?
They've been extremely important. My family and I are really super close. We've got the family bond that is pretty strong thanks to homeschooling and all of that good stuff. So you've probably been my biggest supporters through all of it. I mean, I don't think my mom even questioned it when I said that I wanted to do animation. She was just like, okay, like, I mean, she was just on board from the get-go. And even my dad, he was like, I could see you're doing that. Like, they always supported me from the get-go. And brothers being brothers and all, they'll give me a hard time about stuff here and there, but they've always had my back. So they're definitely very important to me. Even my grandparents, they've been greatly supportive as well. They've even said every once in a while that they'll just sneak away with me just to see me, do my thing and all of that. They wanted to see my animation lab at Webster and stuff, so they came for a visit. That was really cool. I've just had a lot of really great people in my corner. Even my church family, they've never doubted it for a second either. They've always asked, oh, have you done this yet? Or have you done this yet? Or they'll see anything art related on Facebook and they'll send me the link or something. So where I'm like, yeah, my church family rocks. Like, they're great. And even my boyfriend, it's kind of funny. He'll always go around and he'll just be showing people my website and my portfolio, to where I'm like, that's cool. Like, I love it. I always, get little reports on how many views have I gotten on my website today. And a majority of the views are from his phone. So I always just love having that group. And just my little tight knit family. I will never have to say that I didn't have support. So
I love that. I just love to see how passionate, how excited you get by just talking about people in your life. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is that, the people in our life, they can support us. And there's nothing wrong with that. We get to appreciate them and love them for that. So I think that's just
absolutely.
such an important thing, because as dream chasers, we can sometimes think of it as just an individual journey, but it's not all individual. It's a lot of moving parts that go into it. it's like we talked about a movie earlier, making a movie, even making an animated film, animated TV show. It's not just the animator; it's also the voice actors, the director, all that stuff. Like it's a whole bunch of moving parts, and that's what kind of makes it so beautiful. Is that everybody working together to create this great, outcome. So,
Absolutely.
if one story of yours could be passed down generation after generation, what would it be?
One story. All right. Well, I would say one story that I want to be passed down is, as of right now, this testimony that I have, and it all stemmed from this COVID-19, just 2020 in general. I feel like that's all I need is just 2020 in general. But I was the good old class of 2020. The no graduation ceremony. I didn't get to finish senior year. I didn't get to say goodbye to any of my friends or my professors or anything. Just kind of was forced to leave everything that I knew. Even my roommate that I lived with for 3 years, I mean, I didn't know that spring break was the time that I would see her. And I haven't seen her since. Wow. So it was all of that moment where everything just came crashing down, and it did feel like I was being forced to live a life that I wasn't choosing. All right, you're going home, you're quarantined, you don't get to apply for jobs, you don't get to graduate, you don't get to do this. And I'm like, okay, like great. So it was definitely that time that wasn't my best. And kind of like what I said before, I always try to stay joyful, but I had depression. I developed, symptoms of anxiety that I didn't know how to handle. And I would almost hit kind of like an emotional numbness to where like I wouldn't feel anything at all. So I would try to watch like Pixar movies or anything, because those are the most emotional movies you could probably watch. Just to try to feel something, and I couldn't, and I didn't know why. So that lasted actually a while, quite a few months. And it wasn't until probably late July, early August, and my church family, they reached out and they offered me a temporary intern position at church, where I could help them do our online community stuff and lighting design, graphics, all of that kind of thing. And it was those people that really reached out. They took me in, and they weren't doing it intentionally. Like, I don't think they knew how big of an impact they were having on me, but it really helped me to start being like, okay, like I can do this. Let's push through this. And, my family, they were always there with me to try to help pick me up, even though admittedly sometimes I was just kind of okay being like, yeah, no, I'm just going to sit here and be sad. So started picking myself back up, and God just kind of gave me a little reminder in my pity party when I was like, God, like 0% of my life's plan has actually worked out. 0% of it. So now I've got nothing. Like, I don't know what you want me to do here. And he kind of just gave me a little reminder where he was just like, I know you thought that this was your plan, and I let you kind of have that thought for a while, but it's not. Like, this is my plan. I've got a purpose for you. And as of right now, it's not time. Like, you just need to wait. You need to let me work, and you need to surrender your life's plan, because it's not your choice. It's mine. So that was the realization where I was like, all right, noted. I take my hands off the wheel. It's all on you. And the moment I released it all was kind of when things started to take off. Granted, I don't have a job yet. I'm still waiting on applications and stuff, but I feel more okay with it, because I know that no matter how many rejections I get, I think I might possibly be on rejection 42
Mm.
right now. I've kept number. Um, but I know that no matter how many rejections, I'll just be like, all right, that's not the to have. So okay, or well, it looks like, God's position for me hasn't opened yet. So
Mm.
that's all right. Still waiting on that. But I've gotten to hang out more with my family. I've gotten more time with my grandparents. And just by like weird coincidence, my boyfriend now, it was kind of a cool way how we connected there because he was living in California and
Mm.
COVID brought him back home as well. So it was cool, weird coincidence how that all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just evident that anything and everything that has happened in just 2020 alone had a purpose. And I'm starting to see the pieces of the puzzle slowly fitting together. And whatever it looks like in the end, I know it's going to be worth the wait. So I would say that would probably be the biggest story right now that I would pass along.
That's beautiful right there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I mean, come on now. Like that's it right there. I mean, you just gave the secret. You just gave it all in your story. And first of all, I just want to thank you for having the courage to come on the show and open up like that, and to kind of share your story because that can be so inspirational to others. You said that you had a plan, right? As a
Yeah.
dream chaser, we got our dream. We ready to get there. You had the plan, but things ain't work out. And you're just like, man, like what's going on? And what we got to understand is just because it's our plan don't mean that's it. It don't mean, it's the plan, it's gonna happen. Like this, that's not the correlation. We might have God, like you said, might have a different plan for us in life. Or just the plan might not work out in our best favor. And we might have to do something else that's gonna work out better for us. And once you realize that, once you realize that and you get to have that peace with just like, hey, I'm gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? Even if I don't get this, I'm gonna be all right. I still take my lessons that I've learned along this journey and I'll take it to somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And so that's it. Like you said, once you figure that out, once you get that idea in your head, oh, ain't nothing stopping you then. You can always keep that positivity. You can always keep that peace because you're just like, oh, it's gonna be okay. This was a purpose. And like you said, just something that's some positive thing to take out of all this crazy stuff that's been going on is that it's allowed a lot of people to reflect, to grow, and to kind of try something else. A lot of people are starting new businesses, starting YouTube, starting podcasts, all kind of stuff where they didn't, I didn't even think about doing a podcast last year, but until now I've started and I've already got what 20 something episodes. So it's
Wow.
just crazy. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's so many people. Like, it's crazy how this is going. So yeah, just thank you so much for that story. That was powerful.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. And then just one thing I want to add on that is that I've played tennis for 4 years, and I never even dreamed of playing tennis. I just played for fun in high school, and I got pretty good. And then I've got to college, and it ain't been easy. I've had plans on trying to get to be a better player, and you can work, and I've worked and worked. And I'm in my senior year and I'm still not as good as I could be, and I'm still not in that, in that spot that I want to be in. But, you can't just say, man, I failed. You know what I'm saying? You just got to say, well, I appreciate this journey for what it was. And I'm going to take everything I learned from it and bring it on with me.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. And yeah, I've seen you every once in a while walking around Webster campus. You've always got your tennis gear and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, you go.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that was powerful, man. I don't even know what else to say. Geez, I'm just like, how do we continue after that? But no, I just want to thank you so much again for sharing that story of yours.
Of course, it's a story that, I have and for a reason. So if
Hmm.
anybody else can benefit from it, then any opportunity that I get, if people ask, then I'll gladly share as long as they're,
Yeah.
ready for a whirlwind. So
That's it. That's it. All right. So Now I need you to reach into your bag, get that biggest gem that you got, and we need what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given in life?
The biggest piece that I've ever been given, or the best piece of advice, I would say would actually be from my parents.
Mm,
They're the kind of parents where it doesn't matter what happens, but they've always got some advice. And being little kids and stuff, you might be like, oh, mom, whatever.
mm,
But the best piece that I've ever gotten is to use whatever abilities you have for good.
mm,
And for when she aimed it at me, it was mostly because of my strong-willed personality.
mm,
I could go either way with it. When I was little, I was stubborn, and I would give my mom a hard time. And
mm,
so she always told me, use that power for good. Like, you're
mm,
strong-willed. It's a good thing. It, if used properly.
mm,
So I never really always understood what that meant. I was just like,
mm,
okay, use my powers for good, okay. But now that I am older, I'm kind of like, I feel like I've learned how to start using it for good. Like my strong-willedness, I'd be like, okay, if this didn't work out, we're gonna go back at it again. Back at it again. Disney, you're not willing to hire me yet? I'm gonna keep
mm,
coming at you until, we
mm,
get this done. You know, that kind of thing. Or being persistent in anything and everything I do, or persevering whenever things fall apart. Now it's in those things that I'm like, that's what she meant by it,
mm,
where whatever power you have, use it for good
mm,
and be aware of it and make sure that you're using it for good reasons.
mm,
So that was probably the big thing for me, even when it comes to like my drawing skills, all that kind of thing. I want to use those for good. Positivity, I want to use that for good. And just give it all I got, because I have these gifts and these skills for a reason. So I want to do well with them.
mm. That's it. I mean, that's it right there. I mean, I think at this point, I'm just gonna make you the host. I'm just gonna sit back and just kind of chill. But
Oh
no, I
God.
mean, that's it. Using what you have for good, and that, I mean, that's gonna take you so far in life. Just like we said, if you're a good person, if you're nice to everyone, it gives you opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Because people recognize that, and it sticks with you. So take that, put it in your heart, and lock the keys, listeners. All right, listeners. First of all, I need y'all to go and thank Kylie in the comments. She came in and she said her story. She's inspiring you all today. So I need y'all to thank her in the comments. But before we go, I gotta ask. We've had a tradition, starting back from maybe episode 10, where the guest gets to ask me one question because people apparently want to do that for some reason. I don't know. So, do you have a question for me, Kylie?
I do actually. So I think it's such a cool idea what you've done with this podcast, because I checked it out before because I was just curious,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen like all of the episodes that you have, and I think it's so cool what you've done with this podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
I know you said that, I think it was maybe last year you came up with the idea to do this, like, or what made you think, yeah, this is the kind of podcast that I want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
how'd you come up with this idea?
It was another COVID story, which is about every story now. But basically, like you said, we went into isolation, and as a people person, being away from everybody, um, it was tough. And then still having to deal with school, it was even tougher. I had one of the roughest semesters of my life because I was like, I was like, what am I, what do I have to do? I can't play sports. I can't go see people. I can't go to class. So it's like, it felt like school was only homework. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
And
man.
yeah, and that's the worst part of school. So it's like, if that's all it is, it's
Yeah.
rough. It's rough. But yeah, so I just had to do something. And I decided I wanted to connect with people more. And I felt like, just bringing people on, talking to people. I was running two different shows. I was running this one, and then I was running a sports based one, which is still inspiration, but it was based off athletes. And Yeah, just after a couple episodes, I was like, you know what, I really like doing this, and people seem to enjoy it. And then I had some people that started to support, and they were like, yeah, you can do this. This sounds like a good idea. And I just said, okay, we're gonna run with it. And now we're killing the game. We're on YouTube. We've made it on Spotify and Google Podcasts and all that stuff. So it's been a blessing. And I just, like you said, I just want to use my personality, you know, for good and to help people. That's it.
That is really cool. I mean, great. That is so good. Good for you for doing that and just running with this idea. Because I mean, that's awesome. The fact that you're on Spotify and everything now. I mean, I'm sure you probably didn't ever think it would be getting that
Mm-mm.
far. And look at you. So that is so great. Good for you and for following that little ping to want to do something. So that's awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy experience. I'm thankful to all the listeners, to all the subscribers. Um, like I said, also if you're a subscriber, because I have like 400 of you guys out there maybe watching this video, make sure you check out the Spotify podcast so you can do it while working out and
Yeah.
eating or whatever. So yeah, make sure you check out that if you're into this show. And the last thing, Kylie, is I'm opening up the floor to you. Do you have any last piece of advice that you want to get to Dream Chasers? And then do you have anything going on with you that you want to promote? I'm gonna leave your Instagram so you guys can see her dope stuff. So
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I would say that would probably be it. Instagram and Facebook. I'm on at Kai's Cartoon Family. Cartoon is spelled with a K. Just
fancy, fancy.
that start is spelled with a K. You know, I've got to make it different.
There you go.
um, Other than that, I think the only last piece of advice that I would have is to just live with no regrets,
Mm,
whatever it is, because I would rather live with a backfired risk, knowing that I tried, than
mm,
with a safe regret of never knowing what could have happened.
mm.
So
That's it.
always, always live it to the fullest and live joyfully.
That's it. That's it. And I think my dog wanted to say something to end the day too, so it's a perfect way to end it.
We'll
Um,
hide a spot as well.
thanks to Spot for bringing his two pieces in on this journey. So you guys, I need y'all to be awesome, enjoy life. Kylie, if you could stay, I have a little debrief after. But to all the listeners, deuces. Hey, how y'all doing, man? Thank you so much for listening and watching. I mean, seriously, just thank you. Look, if you like this, then go ahead and listen on Spotify. I need y'all to listen on Spotify. Help me build the audience. No, but seriously though, I mean, you can drive, you can work out, like you can do stuff without having to look at the screen. And just thank y'all so much for supporting. I love y'all. Go follow Kylie at Kai's Cartoon Family on IG and on Facebook. So go follow her. Appreciate y'all.